This is the Earth Science Classroom. Welcome back. This is European Physiography. This is Europe broken down into its distinctly different regions or landforms that by characteristics and obviously similar divisions, just like our North American video done previously. So, Europe, amazing collection of countries. I'm kind of biased because I am from a very small town or small city as a cathedral called Truro, which is right there, about an hour and 15 minutes southwest of Plymouth, the biggest nearest city. And growing up in Cornwall, so I am Cornish as well as English, very proud. And now I just live, have my family over in the United States. But I came from Truro, and amazing place, part of Europe, and always hold a very dear place in my heart. So, that being said, what are we doing in this video? All right, so this video is all about physiography, and we're going to introduce it, intro to Europe. So we're going to introduce Europe as a very large peninsula, a part of Eurasia. We're going to discuss different regions and divisions that are in Europe, and basically have a little brief discussion on each one, quickly on where they are and locations and the countries they go over or contain, and then look at the connections, how we connect this with geomorphology, volcanology, plate tectonics, orogeny, geologic history and time, and how certain parts of Europe connect very nicely with parts of the Middle East and parts of Asia. All right, so join me now. So here we go. So Europe is pretty much counts for 2% of the Earth's surface. So in relative fact, a very small part, yet a very important part. Obviously, the birth of the Industrial Revolution with Belgium, France, England, Germany leading the way, and then following on with Canada and North America, and obviously the United States. And you had obviously World War I, World War II, which originated in this part of the world. You've got the Roman Empire, the Greek democracy and the ancient Greeks, and you've got the Mediterranean with all the fantastic wars and combats and battles through the years, and the French and English fighting against each other, and you've got the Scandinavian areas with the Vikings and all this different collection of immigration and places being taken over and ruled and then lost, and then it's fantastic. History of Europe is fantastic, and we all know the geography of Europe. We've got things like areas like Scandinavia up there. You've got the British Isles. You've got Iceland up here, which is an awesome, beautiful country. Again, I come from Cornwall right here, so again, this is really I'm kind of biased towards England. You got Iberian Peninsula, kind of touching with Gibraltar and Northern Africa. You've got the beautiful Mediterranean right here, going through the Middle East, and you've got Cyprus and Crete and all the Greek islands are beautiful. Sicily is gorgeous, and the classic shape of Italy. You got the Eastern European countries that all had their beautiful cultures and different styles of how to live their lives. You got Germany and Poland and the Baltic states up here, of Latvia, Lithuania, and obviously into Russia, and basically European continent goes into Russia up into the Ural Mountains. So some maps may show it cut off here, like mine does later on, and some maps show it cut off at the Ural Mountains, which is kind of the natural divide between European Eurasia and Asia in Eurasia, because it's one massive big continent. And as you can see, it's one big peninsula as well, surrounded by three areas of water: the north, the west, and to the south of the Mediterranean. All right. So now we're on to the physiographic division. So how we divide Europe into its distinct large area, large region landforms. And pretty much like North America, but there's a lot less general divisions. There's 10 in North America, whereas only 4. So there's only 4 in Europe, whereas in Asia and even Australia has their own divisions. But Australasia is a lot smaller in terms of the continuity and changes. But Europe has 4, which is obviously nowhere near as much as North America. So in terms of the geomorphology of Europe, it is definitely less extensive or varied than North America. So the first one is the Western Uplands, as you can see right here. All right. Now we know from a nice little compass, we have north, we have west, we have east, and we have south. And the Western Uplands really is this area right here. All right, so I'm just going to outline it in red. There we are. And we'll discuss it in a minute. And then there we are. It kind of cuts off here. Now, if I've drawn if you're from a certain country on this map and I have drawn it in a weird way, or I've outlined the country in a weird way later on in the video, I do apologize. It is somewhat of a freehand drawing, and I know I've botched up Finland a little bit. It's a lot larger than that, so I apologize in advance. But if I'm going to shade the Western Uplands, you'll see that it covers a lot of the Iberian Peninsula, central Spain, most of Portugal. It covers, this part is the Spanish Meseta, which is the plateau, it's about 2,000 feet in elevation, and includes Madrid. And then you've got the area around Brittany in France, which is called the Orion Massif, which is basically a very large, exposed, pushed up granite mountain, basically, or a massif is a certain style of mountain which is caused by usually compression and being pushed up as uplift. Then you've got here where I'm from, there we are, and over here with Ireland, Northern Ireland right here, Wales, certain parts of Western England, up into Scotland, and the beautiful Scotland, the Highlands. If you haven't been to Scotland, the Highlands are just absolutely gorgeous. All right, you got Iceland. Iceland is kind of its own little separate division because Iceland is so varied with its volcanism, with its mid-Atlantic ridge and divergence right through it, and the various other geological features. It really is kind of its own thing. And then all the way through Norway and Sweden right here, again, beautiful countries, gorgeous coastline, very, very nice people, extremely tall, generally blonde, but they're very, very nice people, and beautiful, beautiful country. And pretty much that is the extent of the Western Uplands. Now, just like with North America, I discussed the Canadian Shield, which is Precambrian, very old, 4.3 billion year old rock, exposed rock. Europe has a similar formation, a similar shield or craton that is actually around this area right here. And it's called the Fenno-Scandinavian Shield. In terms of size, it's nowhere near as large as the Canadian Shield, but in terms of the age and the stability of that area with the mostly metamorphic igneous rock formations, it is present and kind of stable around Finland, Norway, and Sweden, that part of Scandinavia. All right, next division is the Northern European Plain, or commonly called the Lowlands. Right here. And it's basically it's very thin towards the west, but then spreads out more towards the eastern part of Europe and spreads into Russia to create the Russian platform, the Russian plateau, and also the Russian plains, which goes off towards Moscow. All right, so I'm going to shade it in. It looks something like this. I'm going to use green because it's great. This area is fantastic for farming. Very good soil. Some rolling hills. Some lots of flat plateau and flat areas. And obviously, it's very coastal, like here through Holland and Belgium, or Netherlands and Belgium, and some parts of France, up into Denmark, the three islands, main islands there, into northern Germany, Poland, and off into the Baltic regions, Balearic regions up here, Lithuania, and Latvia, and off into Ukraine, down there, off into near Crimea, down into the Eastern European countries, Romania, Bucharest, sorry, Bulgaria. There we go, and up to here. Now, does extend? It extends this way, and this way, and this way. However, this map I just want to show you just purely Europe and not really include much of the Russian part of Europe. Okay, so this area is generally very flat, very rolling hills, and obviously very good for farming. And we know various areas of coastlines are actually below sea level, like around with the Netherlands, and can also be susceptible to flooding. And there was a recently very bad flood in Germany very recently, which is terrible. Right, our next division of landforms that are very continuous in Europe is the central uplands. And these are pretty much going to be right here. It's a very small region right there. Going to shade it in. Find the same color. There we go. Very nice. Okay, so this area right here. There we go. So most of eastern France, going down to the Mediterranean, up over northern Switzerland, northern Austria, southern Germany, up into maybe even touching a little bit of Luxembourg, and maybe parts of eastern Belgium. But this is an area of uplift from the Alpine orogeny, or the huge belt of the Alpine region, which is a huge connected belt across most of Asia and Europe, and pretty much this the extent of being pushed up now. It's similar to like a Piedmont region in North America, where you'd have that rolling hills and that increase in elevation and steepness going up and gradient going up towards the Alpine region. So this is contains various sections, the Massif Central, the Ardennes in France, the Haginian Hills, and pretty much is the foothills of the Alps. And it includes much of the Czech Republic as well, and very wooded, very rugged, but obviously not as high elevation as the Alps. All right, last but not least, the big one, the big boy, the Alpine region. Okay, it is a connected orogeny or orogenic belt. It is connected with areas of Africa in terms of geology, in terms of areas of the Middle East, going through Eastern Europe into the Middle East and through Turkey and down and connects into the Himalayan mountain range as well as one long orogenic belt. So I'm just going to outline it. You've got an area right here, area here, okay, the Pyrenees. You've got the area here, starting with the Alps, the actual European Alps. You've got the Carpathians. You've got the area around Greece, down into Italy. So, and then it continues on. Doesn't really include much. Includes Turkey, but not on this map because that is part of the Middle East or Asia. And you have it extend east to connect. But if I'm going to just shade it in, looks like this. Use red. There we go. Down here in southern Spain, you got Sierra Morena and Sierra Nevada mountains. You've got over here the European Alps, the Pyrenees right here, the Apennines through Italy. You've got the volcanoes down here in southern Italy and Mezzogiorno. You've got the Vesuvius and Stromboli and Mount Etna. And you've got over here in Greece, you have Theros, Santorini, a massive eruption in the past. You've got areas of Crete and the islands of Cyprus. And you've got all this here as well. The Dinaric Mountains down here, Carpathian Mountains over here. Got the Balkan Mountains through Greece, which are beautiful. You've got the Caucasus Mountains, which are over by Georgia, Azerbaijan, that area. So that is technically Europe, but not on this map. So it does extend a lot further east. So this, again, is one large ordinate belt, and this is caused by, I'm just going to draw a line here. You've got some beautiful convergent plate boundaries up here where African plate is converging with the European plate, and there's subduction, and there's one over here and one over here, all these different fault lines and convergent boundaries all around the Mediterranean, causing the volcanism and also causing the creation of the Alps. Now, if you're like me and you like seeing things with pictures and visualizing it, obviously I've added in the country outlines on the map. The darker lines are the landforms. So as you can see, over here is the western uplands, and then you got the lowlands and the Alpine region here. And you can see how many countries cover the Alpine region right here. The Alpine region is basically this. And you can see it goes through a lot of the Eastern European countries. Okay, and obviously there as well. So again, I apologize if I've messed up your country outline. I do my best freehand, but I like to see these in, see, like, say, Germany. Let's take Germany, for example. Germany is right here. Okay, Luxembourg, Germany's right here. All right, very large country, but it includes pretty much 3 distinct areas. You got the area of the Alps right here, southern Germany. You've got the area of the central uplands, and you have the northern European plain or lowlands right here. So 3 distinct areas. Do the same with perhaps Poland, or perhaps with Spain, or definitely France. We've got 3 distinct there. 1, 2, and 3 with France. Actually, 4. France only has 4. So yeah, I like to see the countries and the landform divisions on the same map. Helps me to see it better, which is nice. And just as a recap, I also like to see pictures of these areas, the landscapes, kind of a nice idea in my head of what it looks like. You've got these, the 3 at the top, 1, 2, and 3 are all examples of the western uplands. You've got the Norwegian fjord right there. A fjord is a submerged, covered in water, ancient glacial valley that's dug very deep, very narrow, very sharp, and covered in water by the ocean, like basically a covered bay of glacial valley. Beautiful. Up here, number 2 is the Scottish Highlands. Again, very picturesque, beautiful. And 3, you have southern Spain and Sierra Nevada mountains in southern Spain, which is beautiful. Then you've got this one right here, image 4. That is of the central uplands, that part of Germany that's in the foothills of the Alps. Again, you've got rolling hills, still some decent elevation, but not as extensive and rugged as the Alps and the Alpine region. Speaking of, picture 5, beautiful Mount Vesuvius in southern Italy. This is Naples, looking over at Vesuvius. Absolutely beautiful volcano. And over here, just a nice picturesque scenic view of the Alps, and you see how tremendous they are, beautiful, picturesque, majestic they are. and then you get the Northern European lowlands or the plains. So again, 7, and this is 8 right here. You've got this beautiful image of Belgium, Holland, or Netherlands right there, and you fly over this area and land in Schiphol, or Amsterdam, or land in Brussels, or maybe Copenhagen. You'd see the beautiful flat arable land, all basically maximized for farming and fields and agriculture and all that good stuff. And yeah, so you got a very diverse, beautiful continent with these different countries. And again, not as diverse as perhaps North America, but still has its beautiful sites all across the continent. Thanks, guys.